Markets are officially open for trade. Joining me now is Andy Brenner, head of international fixed income at Nat Alliance Securities. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashley. It's always a pleasure.
What will you be following most closely today as trading gets underway, for the week gets underway?
Well, for the week, we're going to be looking at the non-farm payroll report on Friday. That's going to be the overwhelming. It'll have a very big effect on what the Fed does on September 17th. Right now, we think they're going to ease 25 basis points. If the number's awful, they could ease 50. If the number's not that bad, well, I still think they're going to ease 25. And the other thing we're looking at is the rates. I mean, we've seen a real backup since Thursday afternoon in rates. 10 years are back almost 10 basis points. Long bonds, got to 4.997, not quite 5% this morning. So we're looking at a much steeper yield curve. And also we're waiting to see what's going to go on with tariffs, with the case that the president lost in court over the weekend, as well as what's going to happen with Fed Governor Lisa Cook and what kind of decisions will be made there. So it's going to be a very busy week. And of course, we started the week with a lot of corporate issuance. So that's one of the reasons rates are backing up.
And as you mentioned, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is releasing its August job report on Friday. Andy, what's your expectation for that?
We think it's going to be a pretty lousy number like it was last month with revisions. Right now, the expectation is 75,000. We think we'll be lucky if we get a positive number. And I'm still very much worried about the employment situation in this country. It's been deteriorating, and the Labor Department hasn't picked it up except with a 2-month lag. And that's unacceptable to try and trade bonds, or try to trade anything based on what they've been announcing.
You mentioned the downward revisions. They were revised in May and June by 258,000 jobs combined. Considering this, how heavily should investors be weighing these reports?
Well, there really is nothing better. I mean, that's what the markets do. Should the investors weigh these reports? No, they shouldn't, but they always do. And that's what, bonds start the trend. If it looks like the Fed's going to ease, that's a double-edged sword. It means the economy's weakening, but lower interest rates help usually the smaller caps rather than the larger caps, but it helps equities. We'd like to see interest rates down about 75 basis points, 25 basis points at each of the next 3 meetings in September, October, and December. Market right now is built in about 55 of those 75 basis points, and September is right now either side of 90%. In other words, pretty much a 100% chance of it happening.
And what impact do you think the report on Friday is going to have on the Fed's decision to cut the rates in September?
I think it's the only thing that the Fed's looking at right now. I don't think the Fed cares one way or the other about a tenth in inflation in one number or another. I think it's the employment, because the employment shows that if the economy's weakening, it's going to take the Fed a lot of work to try and get it stabilizing. So I think the Fed is going to put 100% of their decision making into the 2 numbers: the number on Friday, which is the unemployment report, and the number on Tuesday, which is the revision to the past year's employment. I think those 2 things will be critical in how the Fed determines what the employment is. And I think employment is 10 times as important as inflation when it comes to Fed decision making.
And any under the radar storylines that you're following, Andy?
Yeah, there's one that came out over the weekend, or came out late yesterday, where Basant says the president's going to he's going to declare a national emergency for housing. So we're curious to see what he's going to do. If he can find some way to get Fannie and Freddie to lower interest rates in their mortgages, or cut their spreads, or do something that I really can't determine right now, and that might spur housing a little bit. However, housing's got its own set of problems. Only one of them is interest rates, the other being the high price of houses. So I'm not sure what the president or Basant has in mind, but we are looking at it. And of course, we're going to look to see the Lisa Cook thing and who Trump is going to announce for that second seat if he does have that opportunity.
Thank you, Andy Brenner, head of international fixed income at Nat Alliance Securities.
Thank you, Ashley.